Spoiler warning, this video features footage and talks about moments from Shadowbringers. It is highly recommended you finish the story before watching this video. The fear of being forgotten beset 1,000 years, where grief and mourning are manifested by a single goal, a mission, a purpose, and with the lack of any real human connection, all that exists is the drive. Everything else is just dust. It's less than human. It's less than worthy.
Remember us. Remember that we once lived.
I believe the truest moment of heroism that the warrior light displays is in this very moment. In this act of mercy and kindness, standing face to face with their former adversary who has been defeated. It is a real lesson and example for all of us. It would have been so easy to discount Emmett Selk in this moment. He lost. We won. But even though we have nodded time and time again, this is the one moment that had the most profound impact on the story and who the warrior light is. Shadowbringers achieved something profound, and I'm often taking issues with the villains that it has brought forth in the past. Yet, not just with the Ascians did they achieve this. Ranjit, a man tired of constant mourning, and he serves to keep the peace as he cannot deal with the death of another mini Minfilia. Lord Vothri, on the other hand, having been corrupted in the womb of his mother to be both man and sin eater, has grown up believing that his whole life that he is the savior of the realm and that his powers are a gift for the people. It's really fitting that his primal's named is Innocence, because in many ways he has been both set upon this path and has had no real reason to believe anything other than what he could see with his own eyes. In many ways in the story of Shadowbringers, I have connected and related to these villains. I have felt that I've understood their motivations, their reasons, their fears, and I have felt pity for these tragic characters. I saw a part of myself in each one of them. As a parent, I would do anything to keep my kids safe. I'm a protector like Ranjit. I'm also personally driven, and I want to take care of the people that has been entrusted to my care, much like Lord Vothri. And I too, when my time comes, hope to be remembered like Emmett Selk. It's often been said that for every virtue, there are two vices, and thus balance needs to be maintained. So for example, if we take the case of virtue as a justice, it can fall out of whack if you have too much indifference, where you're too much merciful and there isn't any justice. Or on the other side, ruthlessness, where there isn't any room for mercy. So it's with this balance that we all, each one of us, struggle with. And it's with this imbalance that the world of Final Fantasy weaves its best and most focused story to date. From the start, the story benefits from years of character development, but at the same time, taking these characters to the world of the first, and obviously letting time pass differently there, it allows all the characters to be reintroduced to the player, and since so much has changed since we last saw them, there is a great mystery surrounding these characters. For new players who come in and experience the story right here from the start, this is also a really good starting off point. Being that we're all in this new world together, where things are different, acts as a great way to explain the world of the player without necessarily making veterans feel like we've done this all before. The story also helps set up a narrative focus to keep the story moving forward, and it really cuts out any bloat or needless exposition. The focus on the story, on character development, on the discovery of the world and all the interactions therein is better than any expansion that has come before it. But beyond that, they also managed to tell a very human story, a story about regret, loss, and the fear of being forgotten. This is a story that serves as a warning about the loss of real connection and the dangers of discounting people. Emmett Selk, in order to justify his genocides, had to keep telling himself that it was okay, because these people aren't people. They are just reflections or divisions or whatever he needed to tell himself so that he could sleep somewhat at night. So even with his own personal justifications, the atrocities that he committed still had a negative impact on him and his body. We can see it as he ended up becoming unrecognizable to himself. You can visibly see this in the way that he walked. Burdened by the weight that he carries, his shoulders were slumped over and he was never really standing tall or confident in his own course of action. In a way, you could say the warrior light loved him, and in stopping him gave him a gift of mercy, to allow him to unburden himself with his final act of peace to someone perhaps less than deserving of it. I do want to take this moment to talk about a specific point in the story that I really enjoyed, and it was actually getting to say goodbye to our Minfilia. I found this to be a very sweet and tender moment, and I might be alone, but with her lack of presence in Stormblood, I wasn't really sad to say goodbye in Shadowbringers. I was actually more or less happy to see her again, if for just this one last time. I felt that we never really got to grieve the loss of Minfilia properly, because there was always the question of whether she would return or not. I think it's this story and this Mini-Min, Minfilia, and Thancred was so intriguing to me, and I felt like I got to see a side of these characters that I really wasn't expecting when they were first introduced. I'm equally happy and sad to have seen my old friend and to finally get the chance to say goodbye. It's easily with great confidence that I give the story of this game a perfect score and declare it one of the best Final Fantasy stories told to date. It is easily the best Final Fantasy story told within the last 10 years, and Shadowbringers for me will always rank up with the greats like Final Fantasy VI, 7, 8, 9, 4, 12, Heavensward, and Tactics. But those are just my thoughts, and I'd love to know yours. How did you feel about this story? What were some moments that you really enjoyed? There's a lot of lore here. There's a lot of questions that have been answered, and that's something that I was looking for specifically when going into Shadowbringers. Mysteries are still introduced, but at the same time, long-time mysteries are continuing to be answered, and we're given lots of information, lots of character development, and a villain that is worthy of the adversary that is the Warrior Light. The best part about this story is it's not done yet. We've got many updates coming. We've got more story within the world of Final Fantasy XIV to keep telling. I hope that this is a brand new bar that the development team and the writers have set for themselves, and I'm very excited to see where the story goes over the next 2, 4, 6, and more years to come. Anyway, like I said, I'd love to know your thoughts. Sound off in the comments below. Let's have that conversation. This is a spoiler thing, so feel free to obviously talk about spoilers in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching this video. My name is Brian, and this is Work to Game. I hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
I imagine we each have matters demanding our attention, so let this be a farewell for us all. Send word when you've resummoned our friend. Oh, and do try to ensure he arrives within the city next time.
Of course. I shall strive for utmost accuracy.